get it right. I got really jazzy right there.
You're so jazzy. You're feeling very slow jazz.
Slow jazz right
like
there.
You need to put out an album named Air.
Air. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's a weird segue into this movie.
Yes, because we are going to be talking about Air. And as we were discussing this movie, we started thinking about movies that have no business being as good as they are.
Well, it's not even such a thing of having no business, but about topics that don't seem like they would make for compelling cinema.
Right. When we first saw the trailers for this, we thought, because the first one we saw was during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we couldn't tell if it was an actual movie or
a Super Bowl commercial for Nike.
A Super Bowl commercial. Which would have been the second Ben Affleck Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, because we were just like, is that because everybody looked like they had like really overdone hair pieces and
and they're the 80s,
and they're just like, oh, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and the Air Nikes, and I'm just like, that can't be real. It's a commercial.
It's a movie about a shoe.
Yeah, it's a movie about creating a shoe.
Right. So,
yeah.
Okay, how is this going to be interesting? And so we were thinking about movies that kind of surprise you with their topic. Like, for a lot that comes to mind first are documentaries.
Okay.
Things like Blackfish.
Okay.
Why should I care about SeaWorld? Well, you should care about SeaWorld and watch Blackfish, but not with small children.
But that's a little different though, because you're not trying to construct a narrative with characters and goals that need to be achieved.
I don't know that that's true, because you are, with a documentary, you are trying to achieve a goal.
You're trying to achieve a goal, but not a narrative.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
With a documentary, you're more going from a timeline.
You're not trying to achieve a fictional narrative.
Okay.
But I would argue that without a narrative in general.
But a fictional narrative is harder than a real world one, because
I make you watch a lot of documentaries. There's some bad ones out there.
Yes, but the old saying that truth is stranger than fiction, and it's harder to write fiction because fiction has to make sense.
Okay.
Where things have to progress in a logical way, and again, there has to be characters with goals they want to achieve. There has to be an antagonist, a protagonist, someone the audience is designed to root for, lessons being learned, and all of this. There's stuff to be lost. There's a lot that has to go into a narrative, and that's why you tend to think like movies and plays always have to be about big, important,
I would still disagree with you that a documentary has to have all those things. They just have to find that in the real life. But anyways, that's not the point of this little conversation. Talking about movies that have a concept that doesn't seem like it'd be interesting. And one that comes to mind is Butter.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a great example, actually.
So Butter, starring Jennifer Garner. I can't remember.
Ty Burrell.
Olivia
Wilde.
Who plays the kid in that?
I don't know. It also has Alicia Silverstone, Rob Corddry, and it's a movie about butter sculptors.
Yes.
That
in fact, the butter sculpture contest at the Iowa State Fair.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing. Our home state here, and it's a real thing.
It's the state we live in.
So, well, okay.
Let's not go crazy.
But I have rewatched it several times.
Yeah.
Came out in. Oh no, this is not the right one. Sorry, I was looking it up to see when it came out.
It did
not come out in 2020.
No, it's like it was like early to mid 2000s.
Yes,
as I recall, it was going to be a subject for one of the Forgotten Gems reviews, but I ran out of time.
Yeah. 2011.
There you go.
And Kristen Shaw's in that too, which she cracks me up. She is so nuts. Yara Shahidi is the girl in that. But yeah, fascinating movie about sculpting butter. Like you would never think that would be something that you would want to watch a 2-hour movie about.
Yeah.
Okay, you had one.
I got a couple.
Okay.
One of Draft Day.
Right.
Which an underrated film about the NFL draft, about what goes on at the office of the place with the number 1 draft pick and the wheels, the deals, the pressure, the just what all goes on behind the scenes. And I find it. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not. I'm just looking. There's a eyelash in my eye.
Oh,
and
okay.
You think that it's about you.
I cannot describe the look she was giving me right there. Like I'm like, what did I do? What? You've never seen it. How can you? Don't look at me like that.
There's an eyelash in my eye, and you personalized it.
Ironically, that movie had Jennifer Garner in it too.
I thought it had Cameron Diaz.
No. It had. You're thinking of Any Given Sunday.
Oh, you're right.
No, Jennifer Garner was in Draft Day with Kevin Costner and Dennis Leary and Anthony. No, it was Chadwick Boseman. Actually, was in that. So, but yeah, that's a great one. And another one you actually reminded me, which I'm sad to say, because it's become one of my quiet sleeper films that I really love. A film called The Big Year.
Yes.
With Steve Martin and Jack Black and Owen Wilson about birders,
right?
About people bird watching and having this competition about who can see the most birds in a year. And it's one of those premises that when you step back and you're like, you look at it, it's like, is this really what you're hanging your life on? How many? I saw more birds than you. And like Owen Wilson's character is always like, oh, because I'm the best in the world at this. You're the best in the world at seeing things.
Yes.
Like that's not really a skill. But the movie does such a great job of kind of taking you with these characters and why it's so important to them. And,
Right.
So, but that's another one of those films that just the subject matter you don't feel like would be appropriate for an extended feature film, but it worked. It worked really well. I thought
very entertaining.
Yeah.
So there is an Alan Rickman movie. Let's see. The name is. I had it here and like it just went out of my head, so I'm looking it up real quick. But he is a hairstylist. And they have this hairstyling competition in Ireland somewhere.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this movie.
Yes. Okay, you're gonna have to. You talk about your next one.
Well, the only one I can see now I'm on the spot because now I want to know more about Alan Rickman as a hairdresser. Okay, well, we watched a movie recently with that, with the Seriously Red about the world of celebrity impersonators, or one of the ones I think of. It's not, well, it is a movie, but it started life as a Broadway musical, like 1776, about the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Now, that's not a thing that you would normally think, yeah, that's a great thing to sing and dance about.
Yes.
But it freaking works.
Blow Dry.
Blow Dry.
Blow Dry is this movie from 2001. It has Josh Hartnett in it.
Oh my God, that is old.
Yes, I know, right? Natasha Richardson, Rachel Lee Cook is actually in it too. Bill Nighy, like it's a pretty good cast. I mean, Heidi Klum and Rachel Griffins, like it's got a pretty good cast in there. But yeah, it's about a hairstyling competition in Ireland, I believe, Ireland or Scotland or one of those Yorkshire. So I was wrong; it was England. I just remember like this visual of this boy who is Josh Hartnett plays this young hairdresser who's trying to compete, and he is practicing his coloring on sheep.
What?
Yeah, I'm serious. Like, so all these sheep are like super colorful. So, but yeah, it was that one was an interesting one.
There's one now I'm trying to, because my best friend, he loves like really obscure films. And he always managed to find all of these really bizarre ones. And I'm trying to remember the name of one of them. There was one it's very simple, from 2007, called Magicians. It has Peter Capaldi in it. And it literally is about magicians. Yeah, about stage magicians. Yeah, it's but so yeah, it's it's interesting how you can get some of these premises and what you can do with them.
Well, and I think it really depends on whose hands they're in.
Yes.
To bring it back to the documentary style, let's talk mockumentaries and the Christopher Guest world.
There's a great, those are some great examples. Very, very
like you got a dog show, a community theater production,
folk music. Like very specific, and like you said, very esoteric kind of hobbies or lifestyles or
something very specific that they're into.
And yet it means so much to the people involved.
Oh yeah. But that really does come down to his style of filmmaking and the people in his cast, really. So yeah, I think that really goes to show. I was trying to remember if there was a movie. Oh, this one is a documentary.
Okay.
But there's a documentary called Catwalk, and it's literally about people who put their cats in cat shows.
Interesting.
And it is fascinating.
Hear that? Hear that cat sleeping on the desk next to the microphone?
Uh-huh.
That's where you're heading.
Yeah, our cats are too lazy for cat shows.
Yeah, so are we.
So, but yeah, I think that it's just a kind of this interesting world where you take something that doesn't seem like it should be interesting and see if you can make something interesting out of it.
Yeah.
I guess interest is in the eyes of the beholder.
I guess, something compelling.
Right.
But, and this is I don't know if we want to go to commercial, quote unquote, and then come back and talk about this. But it seems to me like from a directorial standpoint, that's where Ben Affleck seems to really excel. He finds these little known stories in American history, things that seemed small and insignificant on the surface, but to the people involved were, massively important, life-altering moments. A fake movie to rescue hostages in Iran. Mm-hmm. And now this. And that seems to be where his great strength as a director and storyteller lies, is finding, and he and Matt Damon didn't write this one, but I owe a lot of this to his directing and having that feel for this may be a small story to the people in the larger scheme of things, but it's everything to them.
Well, hold that thought, and we will come back from break and have a discussion about what we feel like Ben Affleck should do with his future. You got Jennifer Lopez now. You're married, so you might as well come up with some good career moves. So we'll be right back.
Hey, Mom, I sure have a stuffy nose. Well, dear, why don't you blow it with tissues? Tissues? You say I should blow my nose with tissues? That's right, darling. Tissues are for blowing your nose. So blow your nose with tissues.
And we're back after that word from tissues.
Any more of these commercials, and I'm going to add some rum to my Diet Pepsi. All right, so let's talk this. Let's start off before we advise Ben Affleck on his future. Let's talk about Air, the movie Air. Tell me what it's about.
So this film, I'm going to try to put it in a nutshell, is about the bidding war between shoe companies, Nike, Adidas, and what was the other one? There's a third one.
Nike, Adidas. Oh gosh.
And another
Converse.
Over who was going to secure the promotional rights to Michael Jordan after his drafting in 1980.
84 was it?
Yeah. So this is based on, again, the movie, I said it during the watching the movie, that again, the movie, it kind of reminds me the most of is Draft Day, only there that's the actual team trying to fight over who they're going to draft, and here it's these shoe companies trying to
sports movie that doesn't actually have any sports.
And I still say it's not a sports movie.
So, yeah, 1984, yes. So this was prior to big deals with shoe companies. Like, I mean, there were pretty big deals. $100,000 is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
but it's not the way it is now, where it's promotional shoes and building. This was the beginning of how sports and sports equipment manufacturers market themselves together.
Yeah.
And so we have Nike, which is a Oregon-based company, going up against Adidas, who was the biggest shoe manufacturer at the time. I want to say Swedish, German. Maybe not. I'll have to look that up. But and then Converse, who was long in the basketball business, back to the days of Chuck Taylor. So at this point, Nike has been predominantly known for their running shoes. Nike, the goddess Nike, is known for victory, and a lot of their stuff was tied up in running. And Matt Damon is trying to push the basketball portion of the company forward.
Yeah, he plays basically a basketball scout, but not for a major team. He plays it for Nike to scout these players and try to say, these are the ones that we should sign to do marketing for us.
And they're based on the real character Sonny Vaccaro. Well, he's not a character, the real life person Sonny Vaccaro, who did this. This is all true story. This is all true story. So so Matt Damon is playing Sonny Vaccaro.
Yep.
Ben Affleck as an interesting turn as Phil Knight,
the owner of Nike.
And then we have some really kind of people we haven't really seen a lot of lately. Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker,
Marlon Wayans,
yes. Then also, of course, Viola Davis, who is probably one of the best actresses of our time. Chris Messina as the sports agent, David Falk. Then we have some lesser known people. A Skarsgård brother I didn't know about. So we got a pretty good cast. Jay Moore as one of the representatives for Adidas,
who you wouldn't recognize.
I mean, everybody's allowed to age. So really, really good casting that they have here. I love that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck don't take themselves seriously as sex symbols.
No, not anymore.
I
don't think they ever did. I think you're right.
Matt Damon, he's kind of paunchy dad bod, 80s hair. Like, this version of Matt Damon is not going on anybody's poster on their wall. Okay, I'm sorry. If that is your ideal, don't let me yuck your yum. Okay, somebody I'm sure thinks that it's very sexy, but this is not.
I'm sure his wife does.
Yes, this is not Tom Cruise in his 60s trying to prove that he's still a sex symbol.
Yeah.
This is Matt Damon playing a believable character.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Affleck, I think Ben Affleck really shines in roles where he's kind of making fun of himself.
There's a lot to talk about from that perspective. And just looking at the roles that Ben Affleck has taken, I think, before I get off on too many rants and comparing this to other movies, let me just say, and kind of why we had the conversation we had at the start of this episode, is that I stopped the movie one time just dead, out of nowhere. Nobody had to get up and leave the room for a second. I stopped. I was like, how in the fuck is this movie about a tennis shoe so goddamn captivating?
Yeah, it's engaging.
And it is so, and engaging is the best word. It is so engaging, enthralling. The writing is so good. The acting is so good. The directing is so good that you are just like, and when you think about it, everything about this movie should not work.
No, like, it's literally people in rooms watching film or talking on the phone We're talking about playing sports. You know, like, we're talking about shoes. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing in this movie that goes, oh, that's fascinating. Let me read a book about this.
Yeah,
subject.
I need to read a book about the designing of tennis shoes.
Right.
And, you know, the factoid that at the time, the NBA only wanted white shoes on the court.
Yeah, like a certain percentage had to be of the shoe had to be white, or else they
Like,
paid a fine.
Like, how would you like to be that guy as a job that you determine the percentage of shoe that is white? Like, what's the mathematical equation for that?
I don't know. If they pay me enough, I'll do that.
Or just like, you know, what I find so funny about this, and I mentioned this, but it's like, this is a movie where you are hoping for a large corporation to win.
It wasn't so large at the time,
but still, and it's like, I remember very distinctly, in the same year, a few years back, doing reviews, Joker came out, and everybody was going, yeah, it's about the disillusionment of the poor, and yeah, which it was not. I don't care what you say, but that's another argument. You know, yeah, up to 1%, yay, this. And within like 2 weeks, the first Downton Abbey movie came out.
Yeah.
Which the subtext of Downton Abbey is basically, hooray for the rich fucker. You know? And that's so weird. Like, how you get people to do that, and you're watching this movie going, I hope this corporation lands this multi-billion-dollar deal. Please, God, let Nike win.
You know, and I think that really comes down to personalizing the struggle, because it's not that you want Nike to win, it's that you want Matt Damon to have a win.
Yeah.
You want Jason Bateman to have a win. You want Michael Jordan and his family to, you know, get something good that they deserve. You know? Like,
and again, all very odd, because again, it's like, hindsight being 2020, we know Michael Jordan is like the greatest basketball. He is the symbol of basketball.
Right.
Like, you could have never watched. I have seen maybe 5 basketball games in my life, not including the 2 from Space Jam.
I am so sorry
to all
the people I grew up with in Kentucky where basketball was king, that I have involved myself with a man who has watched 5 basketball games in his life.
But I know with great distinction, because I grew up in the 90s, who Michael Jordan is.
Right.
You know, and like you said, I hope Michael Jordan gets a good deal. And you're like, the guy is a fucking... No, and
it really does, though. Because of the way that Nike supported him and marketed him.
Yeah.
Like, it really does beg the question, like, yes, he was very talented and he was very great on the court, but would have he become such a superstar without that backing?
Yeah, that's...
You know, like, it really feels like they kind of depended on each other. It was a codependent relationship there.
Yeah.
With Michael Jordan. So, I don't know.
So that is the thing with me in this movie, and of just how good it is. How good the writing is, how good the acting is. Like you said, the stakes are believable.
Right.
They're human. You know, it's not, like I said, it's not that we want necessarily Nike to win, but we want Matt Damon, this poor, beat up basketball player on the or coach on the verge of losing his job, you know, to get that win and to prove that his hunch is this long shot. Again, the long shot of...
He's a marketing guy.
Yeah, but this long shot of betting on Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's one of those things, it's part of the problems with a film, watching a film like this now, where we know the outcome. Like, I remember a few years ago seeing a trailer for one of Disney's movies, where it was going to teach that, you know, black players could play basketball every bit as well as white players. Which, you know, at the time that the movie took place, yes, that was an extreme thing. Nowadays, you're like, really? Like, yeah, no shit.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, just everything about it works.
What's interesting is the guy who wrote this, Alex Convery, he is a rookie. This is his first film.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah. Like, it's good because it is really well written. And, it seems as though Ben Affleck kind of took him under his wing.
Yeah.
So that helps. Obviously, Ben Affleck, his rookie, writing debut was pretty amazing.
Yeah, his and Matt Damon's, yeah.
So I would say, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, it was amazing that this is his first movie that he wrote, and it's actually so good.
Yeah. So there's not, I hate to say it, but there's not a lot I can talk about.
Like, we all know Matt Damon is a superior actor.
Yes.
Like, he is a chameleon, but you never lose sight of the fact that he's Matt Damon.
Yeah. And it feels like he's been getting a lot better with age. And I think once he kind of got out of the Das Wonder Kid kind of title that he earned with Good Will Hunting, it felt like he was trying to find his feet a little bit after Good Will Hunting.
Right.
But it feels like recently, especially, he has really found his way as an actor.
Well, I think, like, okay, like in the last review, I said Batista is who Vin Diesel wishes he was.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Matt Damon is who Tom Cruise wishes he was.
Yeah.
In that he can be an action star, but also be a compelling comedy actor, a compelling dramatic actor. And you always want to watch him. Mm-hmm. Whereas Tom Cruise, you more are stuck watching him because he happens to be in the thing you want to watch.
Yeah, or you're watching Tom Cruise.
Right.
But my thing, and I get more and more convinced of it, is just how much better Ben Affleck is as a director than he ever was as an actor. And it's not to say that he's a bad actor.
No, he's not. Like, I mean, Good Will Hunting, he was great in Good Will Hunting. He's had some good roles, but he's exponentially more talented as a director.
And I was a little concerned because he had like a couple of hits, like The Town was really great.
That was really good.
Argo is a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And then he did Live by Night, which I saw and was just like, and most people saw and was like,
I don't think I even saw that one.
You missed the only funny part of that movie is when the Italian mob is going through and killing the KKK.
Oh, well,
that's
nice.
That's a fun sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there's not much to talk about in that movie. And I was kind of like, oh, I hope he hasn't. And of course, he's one of these people whose career and personal life has gone through so many ups and downs, and he's always coming back and then falling back down and whatnot. But you look at his filmography as a director, and there are more hits in that than there are misses.
Right.
And the stuff that are hits are huge, well done, expertly crafted. And what I like about this one is it seems like because one of the things I've been worried about with him is like most of the films that he's directed, he has played the main character in.
Right.
And it's like, okay, can you ever direct something that you're not the star of? And this is very clearly a Matt Damon picture.
Well, his first film that he directed is Gone Baby Gone, and he was not in that. He just directed it.
Oh, are you sure? I thought that was no, it's Gone Girl is the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wrong. And here he is playing a supporting role. Mm-hmm. Like, he's smart enough to know Matt Damon needs to be the lead.
Right.
And of course, because he and Matt Damon have such great chemistry together.
Oh yeah.
Like, such flawless, effortless chemistry.
Right.
It just works. Another thing I like, and I learned this in grad school when we were taking style and collaboration, if you watch enough pieces of a person's work, you start noticing things that they do, that repeat in various films. And you can talk about that with like the tone and all that of Affleck's work. But I love how he uses not just music, but visual cues to give exposition to the story and where we are in time. I think about how in Argo, he used news clips, actual news footage throughout the movie to kind of anchor it in that real world, and he does that here too.
Yeah, the advertisement from the 80s,
especially at the beginning where he's telling us this is the era we're in. This is the era of Nintendo. This is the era of this band, and he's like all these clips of what culture was at that time without having to stop and tell us it's and he's very smart about that.
Right. It must have cost a fortune.
Oh yeah.
To play those clips, because they were like legitimately like some really well-known commercials and whatnot from back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sports clips too, like actual sports clips that they were using. I can appreciate that. I also enjoy that he can do exposition in ways of telling, like, really fleshing out a character without saying, like, hey, Phil Knight, you're a rich hippie dude. But, like, just by having him there with his bare feet up on the thing and his purple Porsche.
Yeah.
And, like, just having all of these little bits. You get that he and Phil Knight and Sonny Vaccaro go way back because of the way they interact with each other.
Yeah.
Without them having to say, we've known each other for 24.5 years.
Joe, I've known you since da-da-da-da-da. And remember this great moment in time and da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. I also like how in movies like this where you have like the gung-ho maverick who's going to take this chance on this kid, this unknown quantity Michael Jordan, it's always just played up as, oh, you rascal. I like how they kind of I think it's Jason Bateman actually says to him, you gambled everyone's career, everyone's life,
right?
All this money and personal relationships. You
basically, like, I am missing my time with my daughter, and you're putting at risk me and my relationship with my daughter in the future.
Yeah,
because of this.
And I like that it's not just he did it and got away with it. Oh, what a charismatic scamp. Yeah, it's he learned and said, I did the wrong thing. I got carried away, and luckily, spoiler alert, it ends up paying off. I hope I'm not spoiling that for anyone who doesn't know Air Jordans exist.
But yeah. I think that was oh gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, I yawned and the cat like started playing with your hand, and
he's not playing, he's trying to eat it.
Anyways, another thing that they did that I thought was interesting is not actually cast Michael Jordan as a visible role.
What did you think of that?
I think that he's right. I saw something that Ben Affleck said, no one can play Michael Jordan but you, and you're too old to do this. I think that that's kind of accurate. No matter who they put in that role, they were going to get criticized as being too this or too that, and you didn't really need him at this point because the negotiations up to this point were going through Dolores Jordan, the mom. So that was important casting, but you didn't really need somebody cast as Michael Jordan because he wasn't super involved in it up to that point.
Yeah. I don't know. That's like creatively, visually, I understand everything he was trying to do. And like you said, that nobody could really capture that aura of Michael Jordan. And it also kind of, like you said, it plays into the fact that, he was almost a non-entity in the negotiations, and that he was kind of this larger than life unseen character that even when he's in the room, you're only seeing his hand or something. I get it. But if I have a problem with the film, it's that was just very jarring. it felt like if you're going to make that creative decision, I think it needs to be done a little bit more subtly than it was.
I disagree.
Because it felt it was a little distracting from my perspective.
No, I think it did two things. It emphasized that Dolores Jordan was going to guard her son and make sure that he got the best that he could. And it also kind of emphasized the I don't know, almost ethereal, godlike quality of Michael Jordan. Kind of the same way that when you have a monster movie, it's more effective if you don't show the monster, because then you show the monster and it's never as scary as you expect it to be. If they would have shown Michael Jordan, it never would have been as awesome as you would expect.
Well, see, I'm not even debating that they shouldn't have shown Michael Jordan, because I understand the decision from all those perspectives. It's that I feel like the way it was carried out, there's the only flaw I can find in his directing of this movie. It felt like it was drawing attention to it. Okay, just off the top of my head, and I'm nowhere near the director Ben Affleck is, but off the top of my head, you want to like you're saying, you want to show just how intimidating and godlike a figure he is. Then shoot it, some of the scenes from his perspective, kind of over his shoulder, but the camera looking down at everybody. Or when they're talking to him, the camera kind of, an old Citizen Kane trick of the camera looking up. They all, not just because he's so tall, but looking up at the god of basketball there. Maybe that would have been too much, but I'm just saying, I think if you're going to make that decision, you need to go for it all the way.
I don't know. I think that would have changed the tone of the movie a little bit too much and to make it kind of more art housey. Whereas I feel like, personally, watching Ben Affleck movies, they feel accessible.
Yeah.
They're good. They're well done. They're beautifully shot, but they're accessible.
I can agree with that. They're very down and dirty.
So,
I can agree with that. I can accept that as a viewpoint.
So, from us to Ben Affleck here, this is what I feel like you need to do. You've got a beautiful wife that you've waited for 20 years now. You got some awesome kids. Hey, we have something in common. Our oldest daughters are about the same age, both named Violet. So listen, just stop with the superhero movies. Everybody is loving to hate on you when you're doing these Batman movies. Okay, just let those go. Just release them. You don't need them. And make more beautiful little movies like this, where you have a nice little, cameo type small role in it that you can have fun with, that you don't have to obsess over, that you can have fun with, and really concentrate on the directing, because you do it so well. I will be shocked if this doesn't get some nominations. You direct so beautifully. Let's explore that, Mr. Affleck. Let's go into that. Okay. Anything to add, my dear?
No, the only thing I'll say is I obviously his superhero films tanked and were terrible. I can understand the Clint Eastwood philosophy of, I got to go do this so I can get the money to do what I really want to do. But yeah. But at the same time, don't just start turning stuff out left, right, and center. Pick these, do like you've done. Pick the films that are meaningful to you, that you think you can do something special with, and then there's a lot of little stories out there. There's a lot of little tales that had huge effects on culture that I think need to be told, and you seem to be the guy to do it. So
heck, if it's money you need, just stick with the Dunkin' commercials, because that Dunkin' commercial, far more entertaining than any of the Justice League movies.
I love that Dunkin' commercial.
So yes,
he's had a really consistent career. That's the
we are are on your side. We are rooting for you, Ben Affleck. Good Will Hunting.
Stay off the sauce.
Is on both of our top 5 lists.
Yes.
So we are some Ben Affleck stans in this household, and we just want to see you do good things. Okay. All right. With that little PSA from the Drive Home Reviews family, what are you gonna give this movie?
I give this one an A+.
Yeah,
I give it an A+. I think this is kind of up there with Creed 3 as one of the first genuinely like great pictures I've seen this year. I've seen good movies this year. I've seen fun movies, but the ones that I would classify as great and really something special, I think this one goes in that category. So again, I disagree with the way the Michael Jordan thing was handled. Not necessarily that he wasn't in it, but that just the way it was shot. But we all can't be perfect. But on the whole, anybody can make a movie about a shoe this damn fun. I mean, it was great. I'll rewatch it.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna go solid A. Because as entertaining and captivating and wonderful as it was, I'm not sure I need to rewatch it. Like I might someday.
You probably will.
But it's not invaded my thoughts, and that's really kind of the movies that I rate the highest are ones that I just can't stop thinking of. And as good as it was, and there's really no flaws in it that I could see, it's not like, it's just kind of, like I had that experience and I got what I needed out of it. So
all right. Well, I can tell you, you're probably definitely going to watch it again because I'm going to watch it again. All right. So good job, Mr. Affleck. So there's another one off our backlog. Got a few more we got to take care of. We're plowing through them. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, my love, for everything. Thank you, the cat that's been sitting here and playing with the microphone the entire night. And thank you all for listening. And as always, drive safe, and we'll see you at the movies.